Hello guys, join me as I want to sew a school uniform for a public school in Ibadan. So I'm going to draw it for you guys so you're going to see how we're going to do it. Before we are going to start cutting. Thank you. Hello guys, they took off the light so we just have to manage this, my phone light. So these are the measurements we are using. We have the bust, the weight, the hip, the top length, that is the length of the top, then the full length, that is the length of the cape. Do they call it cape? That overall that they put on the uniforms on the inner. Yes. So we have half length, like there's always a demarcation at the on the inner on the cape. There's always a demarcation where there will be cross at the back. So that demarcation will end by 14. So the back, that is the shoulder, is 13. We have hand band. I measure the up and I measure the down of where I want my hand length to stop, and I measure the hand length, the length of the hand. Then this is the cross rope, the one at the back. It's going to be 17 by 4, and this is the flap on the what do you call this thing? The uniform, that box one. I think they call it. I actually forgot the name they used to call it. Is it cape or something? I can't remember. Sha. The four corner uniform it usually have lap on it. The measurement of that lap will be neck slant measurement by 2. What I mean by neck slant measurement is that I have to cut my neck first. Then I will not measure the neck length because the neck could be V. I'll measure the neck length and I'll use that measurement against 2. So this is our body basing for the top. But before I go to this place, let me just go to the standard measurements. Standard measurements for the length of shoulder to bust is 8 or 9 depending on the person. But for my client, I'm using 8. Then the standard measurements from bust, I'm talking about the length from bust to waist is 8 to 9 depending on the person. And our standard neck is 3 by 3 for the front and 3 by 1 for the back rather. So the armhole depth, that is, I'm talking about this. The distance between this and this is called the armhole depth, and we have standard measurements. So I only pick out the measurements for medium because I'm dealing with medium. That is, mediums as bust size from 28 to 36. I said the bust is 32, so it falls between 28 to 36. So the armhole depth will be 0.75. Then the armhole is shoulder measurement divided by 2. Shoulder measurement divided by 2 accurately will give us a fitted armhole. This is what I mean by armhole, like armhole measurement. Then if you want it to be free, like a uniform shouldn't be tight. So you're supposed to add +1 to make plus zero point 0.5 to make it free. The nipple to nipple, that is that breadth. Like I want to put that on the cloth. It has to be nipple to nipple. So our nipple to nipple is bust tan times 2. When I mean that breadth, I'm talking about when you open the clothes. When you open the clothes, there's that here, there's that here. This is that breadth. So distance between this and this is bust tan times 2. And you know that when we want to cut, this has to be half. It has to be half. I have to cut into 2. So I don't need this full length if I want to cut. I only need from this middle point to this place. And I said bust tan times 2, which means I don't have to times 2. I can just use just bust tan. And our bust tan is bust circumferences divided by 8 minus 1, which gives us 3 that I use in this place. So let's go back to the drawing. So when you want to draw for your basic bodies, you have a rectangle shape. Then up is constant. That is one. There has to be one in this. in this place as slope. Then that slope depend on the person. I personally, okay, let me just say one is standard, but I personally does not use one. Sometimes I use 1.5. No, 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 no. One is the highest I use. But depending on the client, I can use 0.5, I can use 0.7, I can even use 1.5, depending on the person. Some people don't have, some people have a very, very obvious slope. You understand? So that's how I do my own. But the standard one is one. So, like I said from shoulder to bust, I'm using 8. So this is my own shoulder. From this shoulder to this place, I'm using 8. This is the 8. After you draw this, you come back to waist. The length of bust to waist is 8. I'm using 8. So the length of the total length of my top is 20. So 8 plus 8, 16. I eradicate this one. So 8 plus 8 is 16 minus 20. That is 4. So which means my top is going to finish here. Do you know I have to sew in allowance? So the sewing in allowance is 2, which makes everything 23. So when you want to put your clothes on the table, it has to be 23. Understand? It has to be 23. Then there should be something by something. So we should use an hip measurement for this breadth. Hip is 37. So 37 divided by 4 plus 2. I'm using 2 because it's a uniform. She can get fatter. You can use anything. You can use plus zero point 0.5. You can use plus 1. You can use plus 1.5 as you like, depending on the customer and depending on the clothes. So this place will be 37 divided by 4 plus 2. That will be the breadth. This is the length, 23 inches. So let's come back to the shoulder. Our shoulder measurement is 13. So and 13 divided by 2, that is 6.5. 6.5. I had 25 inches, 0.25 inches. So it's give me 6.75. So by the time I'm sewing it inside, it's going to give me accurately 6.5. So this is the line. This is the line for 6.5. So from that 6.5, I'm bringing it down by 8. The 8 that we talk about in this place, MO. That is standard measurement divided by 2. Plus, I'm adding plus 5 to my own. So it gives me 8. So after drawing this 8, here, you will now look for your bust. You look for your bust, which is 32. 32 divided by 4 plus 2. It gives you 10. So it is that where that 10 is. So let's assume the 10 is in this place. This wherever the 10 is, the 10 will obviously be longer than 6.75. So wherever the 10 is, whether it is here or here or here, that is where you are going to connect to. Wherever the 10 is, you understand? No matter how long it is, that's where you're going to connect to. After connecting to the 10, you connect like this to the 10. To look for, and that will be for the back. That will always be for the back, but the front is always going in a little bit. And this is the measurement for the armhole depth of the front, 0.75, like I said. So the distance between this and this place is 0.75. So and you are going to measure it from the middle. So let's assume this is the middle. You measured 0.75 here. You now you bring your drawing from this place to kiss the 7.5, and to now come back to this place. That will be for the front. Front usually go deeper than the back. So after that, we measure mostly in most cases, our bust is always bigger than our this, which means where there's 10 here, there will obviously be lesser than 10 here, which will make it to look like this, to make it to look like something like this. That's how it's supposed to look. But in the case of my client, she has more tummy, so the bust is even almost it's the bust is looking lower than the stomach. So it will actually goes goes like this. It actually goes like this. It won't have this shape. And that's why I'm putting that. If not, sometimes you might not put that to clothes. That's putting that to clothes is not compulsory. And mostly, you can put that by the side. Any cloth that already curves like this, you don't have to stress yourself, except if it is specific, or maybe you are trying to sew pad on it. So because of the way it will actually look like, I have to just put a tiny dart so that it will look a little bit fitting. So we said nipple to nipple, that is from from the nipple point, this nipple point, that is the dart breadth is bust times two. But I don't want the nipple to nipple, I just want the half of it, so which means I won't multiply it. And bust stand is bust circumferences divided by 8 minus 1. So that is bust circumferences, that is 32 divided by 8 minus 1, which will give us 3 inches. So you measure 3 inches from this side to this place. That's where you get the point of your dart. So up of the dart from the bust, you measure 2 down. You measure 2 down, which will be your starting point. Then from the down, you measure 1, which will be your starting point. No, we now have 3 points. 1, 2, 3. From the one in the middle, you measure backward, you measure to the front, zero point 0.5, you measure to the back, zero point 0.5. Then you bring the point from this place to this 0.5, from this place to this 0.5, like this, like this. That's just, you are good to go with that. So we are done with the basic. Oh, sorry. For the neck, and I said it is 3 by 3. So depending on the client, if they are more fat, you can use 4 by 4, you can use 5 by 5. But the standard one is 3 by 3. It will always enter their head. But if they are fat, you may try to put a button at the back or put zip at the back. But this is a uniform. I'm not using zip. I'm using button. So and the front has to be slant. Like I said, this is how their uniform looks like, with a cape. This cape that I talked about. This flap. This is how to look like. There'll be a flap. There'll be a flap. So it's not round. This looks like a V. That's why I did like this. So when you want to draw it, you just make a slant drawing from this place to this place. The up one, I'm using 3 by 3. I might use 3. I don't want to use 4 because I don't want the chest to be too open. So I'm going to use 3. 3 by 3, but I'll make it slant. So it's going to be straight. It's going to be slant. So it look like V. But for the back, I'm using 3 by 5. It will have a little bit opening here. I'll put button here to close it. So I needed that space so that the clothes can enter the person's head. So that's enough for the bust stand. Then for the hand measurement, I said is 12. No, we can't use 12. We have to use 12 divided by 2, 6 plus 1, 7. So the breadth is 7. Then for the length, my length is 7. So the length will be 7. Then 3 plus 4, 7 plus 2. That 2 is for the sewing allowance. So um, there's a standard measurement for this division. I'm going to talk about it immediately I remember, but I'm already used to using 3 for a young adult and using 4 for an older adult. Sometimes I use 5, depending on how I want the hand to be. But in this case, I'm using 3 because the uniform clothes, I don't want it to be too shouty, whatever. I don't know. I just use 3. So this 3, I have to divide it by 2 and 1. And this 2 by 1, this 2 is our 1. Then the middle, you can just look for 70% and 30%. So it's easier for you to draw this. This line is like this. One comes like this. The other one goes like this. It's just like S. But that S has to have points. So you bring it from this place, bring it here to kiss that point. That's where 70 and 30% ends. Then you bring it from this place and bring it like this. Just like S. Just like S. Understand? Then you measure the lower part of the band, which is 11. 11 divided by 2, 5.5 plus 1, 6.5. But while I'm sewing it, I might actually add zero point 0.5 to it because I don't want the clothes to be too tight. As a uniform, she might get fatter. She really like it if there's more allowances on it. So I'm actually add 5 on it, depending on how my spirit just how my initiative and direct me. So we are using 6.5. So you bring it from this place and bring it like this. So when you want to cut, when you want to cut these 2 inches, you won't cut it. It won't end like this. So you won't make it end like this. In this place, it will not end like this. You have to make it curve like this, or you make it curve like this, so that when you want to sew, you will remember that the 2 inches started from this place. This point makes it easy for you to easily sew. So whenever you want to cut, you make sure you just make sure you are not cutting it straight to this place. It's not coming straight like this. Make sure when you get to this point, you bring it like this, or you bring it like this, just to be able to know that we're putting this one inside. We don't need it. So for the cross at the back, we're using 17 by 4 for the cross at the back. The cross will eventually look like this and look like this. For the back, we're using 17 by 4. Thank you. So guys, this is the back. Oh, sorry, this is for the cape. This is for the cape. This is how the cape usually look like. It's going to look like this. The front is going to look like this. You can actually make it curve or any shape. But me, I want it to be rectangle because I want the flap to be defined. I want people to see it very well. So the back will be crossed, like I said. So which means we are only working on the front. The back will just be like half of this. So this is the front. I'm using the length I'm using. You know, our full length is 38. So I'm using full length is 38, half length is 14, like we said. So I'm using half length 14, full length and 14 plus 24, that is 38. Then the two of our sewing inside. Then I decided to use two. I decided to use 5 by 2 for the front, and I decided to use 4 for the shoulder. So this is just the simplest part of it. Then the other side, which is the other side where I'm posting the cross on, that will just be 24 by 16.25. So this is how I get the 16.25. I use hip divided by 4 plus 2, which is our normal hip with allowance. But because I want it to look flare, I want it to look have I want it to have space. So I'm going to add plus 5, which means while sewing it, I'll I'm going to I'm going to it's going to look like this. That's it's going to look like. So this space 5 will be enough for all this small space, so that at least it won't have the same measurement from hip downward. Then for the neck measurement that I talk about, I said the flap. I said the flap will be neck measurement by 2. So you know all our work has to be in rectangle. So this is how it will be. You measure this. Let's assume this is 7 inches by 2 inches. When you are measuring 2, and you can see that this 2 is, you know, I'm just drawing. I have not even started cutting. So when you are cutting, you have to use your initiative. Like, do I want this 2? Is this 2 enough? Like, flap has to be there, but does it have to be shouty? All those you are supposed to um, incorporate all those things when you're cutting. So if my 2 is too small, I can make it 2.5. If it's too big, I can make it 1.5. You understand? So you just try to you can fold it into two. You can fold it into two like this, and measure two, two, two. You understand? Flap, and you can also make it like this. This one will make it look double, which will make it look defined. One slap does not usually make sense. If I make it like this, I can decide to use one and decide to use two, depending on the customer, depending on the cloth. And if you don't have more clothes for the back, you can use any material for the back. Just make sure it looks like this in the front, and it will make it more defined if it's double. And this one will actually give you a double. You know, if you want to open this one, it will give you a circle. So instead of getting a circle, you just split it into two, put it together, so it will give you more defined flap to look thicker and look neater. So that is all for the drawing of this uniform. So while I'm cutting, I'm going to show you it bit by bit when I'm cutting, and I'll show you the outcome of it at the long run. Thank you guys.
Leave keys.
Oh my god, I wish I knew. Oh my god, I wish I knew that it was all of mama showed me. Yeah. Oh my god, I feel brand new. Mo de ti gba fọ́lọ́run kò lè tó.